Today we are talking about breathing and in particular why it can be useful as a stress tool during times like this. I'm going to screen share with you for just a second so that you can see this on my computer with another little diagram and maybe take a screenshot if you would like to, or snap a picture on your phone. So give me just 1 second and you should be able to see that on your phone or computer. And all right, so hopefully you'll be able to see the whole thing. There you go. So if you want to take a quick screenshot of that, and you can follow along on your phone if you can't see this very well. And then we'll also be using that diagram on the right for some of the conversation that we're having. And let me, I'm just gonna leave it like that. Oh, here it is. Sorry about that. Okay, so first I just kind of want to set a framework for why we want to be talking about breath, especially during a particularly stressful time like the one we're going through currently with the coronavirus. So overall, our stress load is higher in a lot of ways. We are going through various changes that come along with less routine or any work changes, kids staying home from work, trying to figure out homeschooling while working from home. For a lot of us, a lot of our regular places that we frequent are no longer operational, the gym being one of them. And so some of the tools that we used to use for managing stress are not available as readily as they used to be. And so we need different tools or more tools in order to help reduce that overall stress. We also have heightened vigilance, which is a term that's used for the underlying stressors that happen throughout our day. So usually when we would typically be able to go into autopilot mode for grocery shopping, even walking in and out of doors at public spaces now, we don't have the opportunity to go into that autopilot mode because our brain is kind of on heightened vigilance with the virus being a potential threat. So we're much more aware of cleanliness, and things like grocery shopping become a little bit more stressful. And so our baseline stress is also higher. I'm going to go ahead and talk about the diagram that I just showed you, and I will screen share for just a second on this. And it gives us a framework for why that is important. Okay, so in this diagram, you can see that we used to think we had two systems, the parasympathetic and the sympathetic. One managed stress, and now we know otherwise thanks to Stephen Porges, who came up with the polyvagal theory. He taught us that it's more fluid than that. So if you see this bottom line right here, that is our regular stress line or curve. And you can see it waves in and out of this social engagement stage where we experience a lot of positive feelings and thoughts, and we're open to exploration. We have curiosity and openness, joy. We're able to be in the present. We're grounded, and it has a direct correlation to our biological state. As you can see over here in this section, when we are in that state, we are able to digest our food and make the most of it. So all of our nutrients are absorbed well. We have a good immune response. So it increases our immune response, which right now is obviously pretty important. And then because of oxytocin and good circulation to all of our organs, we're just operating at our best. And it's normal to fluctuate in and out of that. For instance, with training, you would be coming up into the sympathetic system. So when you're in the gym and you're working hard, you have a lower immune response. As you can see, your immune response decreases when you're in the sympathetic system. And then it goes back down after you recover, and that is a healthy way of being. However, when we have heightened baseline stress, and we also have more stressful times in our day due to lack of routine and all of the changes that we discussed earlier, we don't return into the social engagement as well, and instead we go up either the flight pattern or the fight pattern. And you can see the flight is where we get anxiety and worry, panic, and then the fight is rage, anger, irritation, frustration. So we might be somewhere on the line in between those if you're like me. So if you look over into the nervous system over here for this sympathetic stage, you can see that it doesn't help us with our immune system to stay in the sympathetic state. We need tools to help bring us down into the social engagement or ventral vagal state we need more tools because we have more stress. However, in this stage, we still are in a state of action. The problem is if we experience a trauma or a very stressful event while we are on this line or this curve right here in the sympathetic state, it almost always sends us into freeze mode. And in that mode, we cannot respond the way that we would like to. So we experience feelings of shame, numbness, depression, helplessness. This is where we are when we say, I feel so overwhelmed right now, when we just don't even know what to do. Another word that I associate with is trapped. You get that trapped feeling like you can't make a decision and you're frozen. In a time like this, that is not where we want to make our decisions and our choices from. If something was to happen that was more stressful, if a loved one was to get sick, if we were to get sick, if this was to go on longer than expected, or if we're trying to make decisions for our businesses or our family, that is not the state we want to be in. So we want to be able to bring our stress levels down low enough that if a stressful event does occur, we have room in between where we are and that dorsal vagal or the freeze state of being. So we'll just go over quickly how breathing can help us get our stress levels down and get down into the lower sympathetic state or even the social engagement state where we can experience joy and connectedness even in a time like now. So the reason breath is really helpful is because it's available to us 24/7. It's the one tool that we don't, even more so than movement, we always have it. And no matter who you are, breathing is available to you. It is also one of the most effective tools that we have to reduce stress. And the reason is because our vagus nerve, which goes from our brain through our neck down through our diaphragm right here beneath our rib cage, it helps control our nervous system. And one of the only ways to access it below your diaphragm is through breath. So it is really a really effective tool in managing stress. So there are two ways that we'll go over, or two types of breathing that we'll go over in managing stress. One is going to be helpful in the moment. So when you hear that old phrase, take a deep breath, that is a good advice, but oftentimes we don't use it as well as we could because we focus on the inhale. Big deep breath in, and then a quick breath out. So instead, we want to reverse that. The reason being is emphasizing the exhale removes carbon dioxide, and we want to balance our carbon dioxide and have more oxygen in the system. So we are going to focus on the exhale. So take a deep breath out is more the line of thought that we want to think of. So taking deep breaths out, making our exhales twice as long as our inhales, it can be one of the most useful tools for reducing stress right there in the moment. So I would say 5 breaths where you take 3 count in and 6 count out. That's usually where people start, and then trying to work up to 4 count in and an 8 count out. But even if you can't do that long, just doubling the exhale, 2 and then 4, that will help your nervous system come down right there in the moment. Another tool that you can use is a double intake and then a long exhale. That is even a little bit more effective. So you'll breathe in, pause in, finish that breath in, and then a long exhale. And that does the same thing as the first one, but it's even a little more effective. The next thing I like to do is just pause breathing. So in for 3, pause for 3, exhale for 6. And again, whichever of those work for you best, they're all effective. And you just find the one that is easiest for you to do right in the moment when you're feeling overwhelmed or stressed, or you start to feel those feelings of anxiety. Those are what you would use right then. Another tool that we have for in the moment is nasal breathing. So just trying to breathe in and out of your nose, or if that's a little too much, in your nose and out of your mouth, it reduces the amount of breaths that you take in 1 minute. So overall number of breaths are less. That is important because it increases your oxygen intake, which is kind of what we're looking for with the emphasized exhales as well. So it's just another way to do it. A lot of people have nasal breathing problems. So one tool that I use is just some peppermint oil can help kind of wake up and clear up the passageway enough if you kind of have a little congestion or allergies in order to get that nasal breathing. The last one is, or second to last one, is the hum on the exhale. So we talked about the vagus nerve before and how a lot of it is below your diaphragm. Vibrations are one of the only ways that you can kind of massage the vagus nerve. So breathing and then vibrations. Massage the vagus nerve below your rib or diaphragm. And that's one reason that singing can help you relax. So if humming feels awkward to you, which I assure you it feels awkward to every single person who tries it, then you can also sing on the exhale, but we want to try to sing in lower tones because the vibrations are more effective that way. So you would just take a deep breath in and on the way out for as long as you can. And if you've ever experienced a live birth or gone to birth classes, you know they teach you this. And this is because in such a stressful, uncertain stage as birth, it's one of the only tools we have. Also, currently a very uncertain time. And so you can use that for yourself as well. Doing 5 of those are incredibly helpful. The last in the moment tool that I will give you is a vagus nerve hold, and use any of those breathing tools that we talked about before. But you're going to take I like to engage the body. It's a lot more effective for me. You can see I'm a coach, so I believe that it's more effective for everybody. But this one allows you to engage the body as well. So you're going to take your hands right below your ears. Your pinky is going to go a little bit lower. This is where the vagus nerve runs in your neck. You are going to put your fingers in a straight line down as far as along your neck as you can. And then you'll gently press in and breathe, taking deep exhales until you feel your heart rate kind of slow down. And you might even get some digestive action going on, maybe some tummy rumbling or weird gurgling sounds coming from your digestive system. And that's totally normal because your vagus nerve controls your digestion as well. So when you kind of bring that down, stuff can move around in your belly. And so that is the last in the moment tool that I have for you. The next part is over time, how can you reduce that overall stress that builds and your baseline stress level? So all of the tools that we just talked about, if you do those regularly, they will reduce your overall baseline because your nervous system will get used to coming back down after it gets stressed instead of continuing up. So you're teaching it to return back to a more normal state. So any of those will help over time. But also incorporating a 10 to 30 minute, I have 4 kids, so it's definitely more or closer to 10, guided breathing can teach your nervous system to come down even farther into that more social engagement stage. And that helps you be able to fall asleep faster and stay asleep once you are asleep. So really the benefit there is that improves your sleep, and you do not have to do it right before bedtime. So if you do it anytime during your day, it still has the benefits of doing it right before bed when you go to sleep. So about 10 days of doing that and you'll see results. The reason that I say guided breathing instead of trying to do a meditation is it's much easier for people. Meditating on your own can be incredibly difficult, and the guided breath or body scans, you can use Insight Timer, there's Calm, there's Headspace, there's online variations that are free, and using the guided breathing is a lot more effective for most people. It helps you turn off your thinking brain, which is the part of your brain that's trying to solve all your stress problems, and get more into the presence and groundedness and curiosity, and that helps you sleep better over time. So that's one way that you can incorporate a breathing practice to help you sleep better, which also helps your immune system and helps you calm down. So the second way that I like to incorporate breathing is during one of those guided breaths or separate from it, doing a little stress check. And this is very similar to working out regularly. When you come to the gym, if you work out regularly, you start to move in the warm-up, and you know if it's going to be a day where you're just going to move through, or if it's going to be one where you can push it really hard. The same is true of navigating our stress levels. When you check in regularly, you start to have an awareness around what your normal is, and you can catch any fluctuations away from that normal way faster. So when I sit down to do the guided meditation, if I can't stop thinking about my to-do list, no matter what I'm doing, every second or two, I'm trying to follow along with what they say, but I just keep thinking about the to-do list, then I know that I'm kind of higher up on that in that sympathetic state of reaching anxiety and fear, concern maybe. And then same is true if I start thinking about, oh, that thing that somebody said to me yesterday, or the things that my kids aren't doing that are frustrating me. Also, or maybe the state of people not, for me, this is something I dealt with recently, people not staying in and protecting each other through their actions. You start to feel angry about that. Then you might be higher up in that sympathetic system, and you can catch it and take action much earlier instead of letting things happen to you. So when you catch that, you can either notice that you're feeling very lethargic. Sometimes that happens too. Sometimes it's not worry or anxiety, but it's lethargy. And hey, maybe I need to move my body a little bit before I have that next cup of coffee, and try to use my actions to boost my system before I try to increase it with an outside stimulant. Or if you're feeling anxiety and worry, you have some self-care practices in place that you can do, like going outside for a walk, or having some solitude, or doing one of your 10-minute guided meditations, or something else that makes you feel nourished, to help bring yourself back down into that place of connection and safety. So those are the tools that we can use to help reduce overall stress and keep our baseline stress in that normal wave between the social engagement and the fight or flight mode, or a healthy amount of stress that actually helps us grow. All right, I am going to unmute you really quickly, and if you have any questions, you can go ahead and ask really quickly, and then we'll get into our guided breathing. Okay, Sean, for some reason it's not. Okay. Does anybody have any questions?
I'm good.
Okay. All right, so we are going to do a guided breathing, and the way it's going to look is we will start with just some of the tools that I mentioned about breathing in the moment. We will practice a little bit of those for about 5 minutes. And then from there, we'll do a body scan, which is one of the easier ways to bring down your nervous system, and also helps with movement practices because you are releasing tension from your body. And then after that, we'll do a quick little gratitude part of your breathing exercise, and then finish up with a visualization that allows you to plant intentions. Overall, it's going to be about 15 minutes, maybe less. But if you're new to breathing, it's easiest to lay on your back with your feet up, maybe feet on the ground, feet up on the wall, or feet on a bench bent. You can also lay on your stomach, and that helps with getting the breath into your back and sides because your belly presses against the ground. But if you are fairly practiced at breathing, you can try sitting up. That is a little bit of a harder position. So we are going to do the guided breathing. If you just try to find a comfortable spot. I'm going to put a little bit of music on, not too loud so you can still hear me. And then we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take 5 deep breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. When you're done with those, you're just going to return your breathing to normal. And I just want you to notice where in your body you feel your breath. You might feel it coming in through your nose, you might feel it in your chest as your chest rises and falls, or your belly. Not trying to change anything, just noticing where you feel it. From there, we are going to try some of the timed breathing. We're going to start out with 4 seconds in. I will count it for you. And 6 seconds out. We'll do two breaths at 6 seconds out, 2 breaths at 7 seconds, and then try for 2 breaths at 8 seconds out. So everybody's going to take one big last exhale. And then breathe in, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, in, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, in, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, in, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, in, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, in, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, in, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Go ahead and return your breathing to normal. The next thing we're going to try is a 2-second in, Pause 2 seconds. 2 seconds in again, and out for 8 seconds. This can be challenging, so just do your best. We're only going to do this for 4 breaths. Everybody go ahead and release a big exhale. Breathe in, 2, pause, 2, in, 2, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In, 2, pause, 2, in, 2, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In, 2, pause, 2, in, 2, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In, 2, pause, 2, in, 2, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In, 2, pause, 2, in, 2, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Go ahead and return your breathing to normal. I know that one could be pretty challenging. Next, we're going to do a guided body scan. Through this, try to just keep your breath. Exhale a little bit longer than your inhale, but no need to count. As I name each body part, you are just going to try to relax that part of your body as you exhale. We'll start from the top. On your next exhale, go ahead and relax the top of your head. The muscles in your face, around your eyes, around your nose and mouth. Relax the muscles in your jaw. Make sure your tongue's not pressed to the roof of your mouth. Try to keep your mouth closed, but let your teeth come apart just a little bit. Relax the muscles in your neck, both the front and the back. Let your head sink into the ground if you're lying down. Go ahead and relax the muscles around your shoulders. Feel your shoulders get a little bit heavier, a little more open. And then the muscles in your chest. And your upper back. Next, we'll move to the area right under your rib cage and above your belly button. As you breathe in, try to expand that area. And as you exhale, relax. Breathe in and expand. Exhale and relax. On your next exhale, go ahead and relax the muscles in your stomach. Any tension you're holding there, just try to let it go as you breathe out. Next, we're going to move to your hips. We'll spend a couple of breaths here. Whether you're sitting or lying down, try to let those hips sink into the ground a little bit more. Let the ground hold you up. Feeling your hips get a little heavier with each breath out. We'll then go to your left thigh. Relax the front of your thigh and the back. Your left calf. Even the muscles in your foot. Into your right thigh, the front and the back. Your right calf. Your right foot. Next, we're going to practice a little bit of gratitude. When we are grateful, it's easier to rejoice for others. We compare ourselves to others less. It's easier to have hope and trust ourselves regardless of what others do. We are more resilient. Gratitude is about focusing on what we have, not what we lack. As you keep your breathing normal, ask yourself, what am I really thankful for? Notice anything that comes to mind. Your next breath, remember any recent positive experience. Try to recall the event briefly. And who supported you, if anybody. Imagine that person standing before you. Say to them, may you be free from suffering. May you live in peace and happiness. Lastly, we are going to practice a brief visualization that helps you set intentions for the rest of the day or week. Visualizations can be helpful for a lot of people. for the intention to settle a little deeper. So I want you to imagine yourself walking out from your house and into a garden. It can be any garden, and just notice what it looks like to you. It might be perfectly laid out, or it might be wild with weeds growing. You're going to walk down a path in that garden to an open patch of dirt. You look around and you notice that there's already a watering can and the dirt is prepared for planting. You reach into your pocket and you pull out 3 seeds. The first seed is health. And you take that seed and place it in the dirt, planting it in the garden. The second seed is connection. You take that seed and plant it in the ground. The third seed is purpose. You take that seed and you plant it as well. Then you take the watering can and lightly water the soil before returning down the path back to your house. Take a breath or two to notice any feelings that might come up after that visualization. And we'll finish with 3 cleansing breaths, just like we started. In through your nose and out through your mouth. When you're ready, you can go ahead and open your eyes if they're closed. Wiggle your fingers and toes. And kind of come back from that breathing.